Hello and welcome to another Firearm Freedom YouTube live stream. I hope you guys are doing well. This live stream today is going to be a little bit of an update on my Palmetto State Armory KS47 and how it performed at the range, because we have finally wrapped up the first impressions video slash upgrades video. I kind of made those all into one due to just ammunition shortages. You guys know the deal with that. And then we're also going to make this somewhat of an open Q&A here on the channel. So you guys know with these live streams that pretty much, every one of these live streams is an open Q&A. But with this one in particular, I just wanted to let you know that that's going to be the plan. Had another awesome range day at the brand new range that I just started going to this weekend. Today, earlier this morning, and everything worked incredibly well and was a lot of fun to shoot. So that's always a really good range day. Brought the KS47. We're going to talk about that in just a bit. I'll let a couple more people get in here and we will get started. So make sure while I'm talking about the KS47, you get all your questions up in your mind, typing them out already, because we'll start answering them as the live stream goes on. As always, guys, if you want to check out the channel in a couple of different spots, we have the Firearm Freedom Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Discord server. So if you're looking to get into the Discords, you want to check that out, get into some awesome group chats and everything like that, maybe some spicy talk, that's all right. All those links will be down in the description after these live streams stop. Now, with that being said, if you do want to check out those links like right now, you can go to any of the previous videos on my channel, any of the previous live streams, and all of those links will actually be down in the video descriptions already. I haven't found a good way yet to actually put those links down in the video description before these live streams, just because I do film these from my phone. So if you want to check those out, head down below. If you want to get some awesome Firearm Freedom merchandise like the shirt that you're seeing here, male, female clothing, we also have hoodies, which are super awesome, and we have stickers and a bunch of other things like that. You can check out the Firearm Freedom merch store. The link, again, will be down below. And also, if you're looking to just, donate to the channel a couple bucks a month or something like that to help out the cause of Firearm Freedom, you can go to the Firearm Freedom Subscribe Star account. Rarely there will be some extra content on there. I always make that upfront in every one of these live streams that don't subscribe to the Subscribe Star account, assuming that there's going to be just worlds more extra content. It is really just a platform to allow you guys a way to just donate a couple bucks a month to the channel if you would like to do so. There's a lot of people out there that really don't have a need for any sort of new t-shirts or anything like that. So that is why I created the Subscribe Star account. What is going on, guys? Good to see everybody. Mike, what is up? Rockford, what's up, buddy? Neil, good evening to you, man. Tuning in once again from the UK. What is up, Neil? Have you suppressed the KS47? Nick, we're going to talk about that in just a couple seconds. Yes, I did. Roxanne, good to see you again. Glad you're tuning in for another live stream. Only the best spiciness, exactly. Mr. 762, what is up? KC, what is going on, man? Hey Joe, where are you going with that gun in your hand? Sean, what do you think about Black Rifle Coffee Company? Ooh, save that question for a couple minutes from now and I will touch on that. I just saw that like maybe 10 minutes before this live stream while I was surfing on Instagram real quick. So I don't know if I'll have too much to say, but I'll have a little bit to say. I broke down and bought a Romanian Wasser 10 parts kit as a hedge in case I can't find one before Biden bans imports. Nick, yeah, honestly, if you can find somebody that can build it well, the Romanian parts kits are pretty freaking phenomenal. But before we start getting into the questions, again, make sure you get all those typed up and we'll go from there. I want to touch on the KS47 simply because I haven't really told you guys too much as far as how it's been performing at the range. And I wanted to go into that a little bit. So you guys will remember me talking about the Palmetto State Armory KS47 Gen 2, and that I was getting it on the channel for review. The main reason why I wanted that KS47 when I originally got it, which was about 40 days ago now, was because 7.62 by 39 ammunition was still kind of available at that point about a month and a half ago. So in my eyes, I was like, you know what? This would be a great rifle to bring to the range and at least get kind of the feel for an AR while I am doing some dynamic drills, whatever else, and not have to worry too much about 5.56 and 2.23 being what it is as far as the ammunition and the price and everything like that, availability. Now, obviously, ergos are kind of totally different, especially when it comes to reloads, because it is a rifle that takes standard AKM magazines. But another reason why I wanted to get that rifle was because I wanted to run it suppressed. It is no secret that standard AKs on the market do not run suppressed incredibly well. Why I say that is because they are just loud. There's a lot of piston pop, port pop. The actions are loud, working back and forth, and you have a lot of concentricity, bores being concentric issues, that can destroy your can if you're not too careful. And it's a little bit more annoying to check whether or not the bore is concentric with your suppressor on an AK rather than an AR where you can easily see through the back. So I wanted to run this gun suppressed. I also got some Brown Bear subsonic ammunition, and I heard that suppressed when we were doing a suppressor shoot at the gun shop that I work at on a 7.62 by 39 AR machine gun, and that 7.62 by 39, which was just a PWS upper and a machine gun lower, was laughably quiet with that subsonic ammunition. So it made me very excited to try this out. So long story short, this thing performs incredibly well at the range. Now, unfortunately, I only have 200 rounds through this rifle now, and as we move forward in time, we can see that now 7.62 by 39 ammunition is actually kind of not as available as it once was. I did get a chance to shoot that subsonic Brown Bear ammunition out of there today, and I have to say it was incredibly quiet. Now, I did have to make some changes, and I cannot recommend that you do the same changes, simply because if you do this, it does void the warranty for the rifle. Now, what I ended up doing for the 7.62 by 39 subsonic ammunition, I went to the range with the standard buffer and spring in that rifle and threw my can on it and just was going to go to town. I assumed that I might have some issues, and I did. That 7.62 by 39 subsonic Brown Bear is like laughably underpowered. So I went out, fired 2 rounds, and then I would have a failure to eject. And basically, long story short, just some short stroking issues. The buffer and spring that's in that gun that they make very, very, very high tension and high poundage on the spring is designed so that the gun doesn't beat itself to death, which is good. But when you have underpowered ammunition and you're trying to cycle it suppressed, it was just not working at all. So I was a little bit bummed out. I'm like, oh, that sucks. I really wanted to run this ammo. So I went to the range again this Sunday, a week later, and I brought the rifle back, and this time I actually put in a standard carbine buffer and carbine spring just out of one of my other 5.56s. Now, I want to preface this with, if you do this and something happens to your gun in the process, like you forget to change the buffer and spring back out when you go to standard pressured ammo, this will void the warranty if you did this and then the gun breaks. So keep that in mind, but I knew that with this subsonic ammo, it would probably run well, and it did. Put the standard spring and buffer in there, threw my can on, and this thing ran so good. It cycled every single round. It was so incredibly quiet. Dare I say, actually quieter, in my opinion, than 300 Blackout. it was very, very, very quiet. Now, unfortunately, I would say ballistics are probably far less impressive than 300 blackout at that distance. I think it's really traveling pretty slow at this point for a 7.62 by 39. But with that being said, it was very quiet. Now, I ran 40 rounds, no issues at that point when I switched out the buffer and spring suppressed to that subsonic ammo. Sounded great, was a blast at the range. Moving forward from that, I actually finished pretty much almost the entire 100 rounds, maybe 150 rounds of standard supersonic ammo was all suppressed. So I ran the gun pretty much exclusively suppressed within the first 200 rounds, and that was with the factory buffer and spring back in it. And I experienced no hiccups, no issues at all. Gun ran great. It was caked up dirty, as it will be with a direct gas, impingement rifle that you're running suppressed. After 200 rounds, it looked like I had shot about 1,000 rounds through it. It was very, very gunked up, very dirty, but not the end of the world. I broke the gun down at the range and saw no excess wear anywhere, no odd wear patterns like the gun has beaten itself to death already, which is a problem with 7.62 by 39 guns. The only thing that I did see, and this is a common, tidbit of information that's out there, is that the magazines are a little bit picky with this rifle. I ran Magpul magazines and Magpul Gen 1 magazines and Romanian just standard metal mags, and I had no issues with those. But with that being said, I did try Bulgarian Circle 10 mags. I know a lot of people out there have probably seen, but on PSA's website, they do label them as being capable of fitting in the KS47. And unfortunately, the one Circle 10 magazine that I tried, as you will see in the video coming out in a few days, was not fitting at all. Basically, I would lock it in, take a couple rounds, the mag would pop out and not lock in properly. It also would not feed on a Yugoslavian commercial spec last round bolt hold open magazine either. So I would say bring it to the range, try out a couple different mags. This is not a big deal, especially when it runs Magpul mags and it runs like Romanian mags, which are the two most common magazines that you're going to see on the market. So no issues with those, but you can try it at home, see which ones fit out, and really try to tap the back of the magazine to see if it's really seated in place and go from there. But overall, the rifle is pretty freaking awesome, and I'm super surprised. I'm not going to lie, I kind of got the rifle in thinking like, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? I don't know. I've always been kind of not a huge fan of all the like mutant type ARs. And I just kind of always thought they looked a bit weird. And I was surprised. This thing is pretty freaking awesome. So stay tuned for the video. It should be coming relatively soon. All right, so about wrapped it up with the KS47 talk. But let's go ahead and start answering some questions, shall we? I scored 300 more rounds of Hornady Black 105 grain 6 ARC. Sometimes it's awesome to be a member at certain places, so I get first dibs. Sean, you can't beat that, man. Nick, how much did the KS47 cost you? Nothing yet. That rifle is in on testing and evaluation from Palmetto State Armory. And how that works, I work with Palmetto State. They basically... I can request a rifle. I might be able to get it. I might not. Sorry. And if I can get it, the rifle ships to me and I get to keep it for 45 days free of charge. I can beat the living hell out of it. I can do whatever I want, and I can choose after that 45 days to send it back to them, or I can keep it and buy it at a slightly reduced cost, basically what it would be, used on the market or something like that. Generally, I end up buying them, but Palmetto State is super cool. I don't know how many of you guys have seen my other videos that I've done on Palmetto State Armory products in the past, but they're one of the few companies that I think are super genuine with how they handle, especially reviews and stuff like this, because way back when I first started working with Palmetto State Armory, my question is always, you know, how do you handle negative reviews? Like, what do you do as far as negative reviews? And how a company answers that is how I decide if I'm going to work with them moving forward. And Palmetto State had probably the best answer that I think I've ever heard from a company when I've asked them that question. And their answer was, if you have a gun of ours that is not performing properly, something is wrong with it, you don't like it or something like that, we actually want you to not send it back, but to make a video basically bashing the gun, letting us know what is wrong with it so that we can fix our product and make it better moving forward. And they said that answer to me, and I knew right away that that was a pretty solid comeback. And yeah, basically they will send me these guns, and ultimately I always end up purchasing them unless something goes wrong, which at this point nothing has gone wrong. So the guns perform well. This one did perform well as well on top of the other ones, so I will probably end up buying it. So I haven't paid anything thus far, but I will be here in a few weeks. What do you recommend to lighten up the recoil on an AR-15? What is a good muzzle brake that is not too far off an A2, and what else can I change out? Rockford, so it's a good question. I mean, a standard 5.56 rifle should not have dramatically high felt recoil. You know, if everything is properly gassed in that rifle, you shouldn't really be feeling much. So I would say if you are feeling a lot of recoil coming back, or getting a lot of muzzle flip, I would maybe put in a slightly heavier buffer, like something like a Geisley Super 42 or something like that, which is a braided buffer spring and, you know, an H1 buffer, and see if that tames it down a little bit, because you may find that by switching that out, minus the muzzle brake at this point, by switching out just the buffer and spring, you might find the felt, muzzle flip, and recoil actually dramatically decrease. But if that is not the problem, and you are just, you know, in need of a new muzzle brake, just be aware that chambered muzzle brakes, you know, one chamber, single port, or, you know, 3-chambered brakes or whatever else, they will dramatically increase the felt concussion. So it's kind of a trade-off. You will get much less felt recoil, and most of the times the gun will not move, but the concussion is ridiculous. So I would say first, mess with the buffer and spring and see if that changes something, and that's going to actually probably save you a lot more money than a muzzle brake will. If you are looking for a muzzle brake, one, and I think I already saw this pop up in the comments, but one that is like it reduces any movement whatsoever, is the Apollo Max muzzle brake, and by Ultradyne, and that muzzle brake is ridiculous. I do have a video of that on the channel, and that muzzle brake takes out any and all felt recoil, but the concussion and blast and gases coming back is just absolutely ridiculous. The Lantac Dragon is also a pretty good muzzle brake for reducing that. And in my opinion, the VG6 line of brakes for the money, they come out at like half the price of a Lantac Dragon. And they are awesome for the money. I've had no issues with the VG6 brakes. I think they're pretty solid for the money. Hopefully that answered your question. Yeah, for the muzzle flip, Rockford, I would definitely try that new buffer and spring. Nick, what suppressor did I use on the KS47? I used my Silencer Co. Omega, and for the first range strip, I ran it direct thread on the rifle. The reason why I ran it direct thread is simply because whenever I'm first going to the range, I never want to rock set on a brake unless I know the rifle's gonna run. Now, rock set is kind of, a lot of people are over dramatic with rock set. They assume that once you put the rock set on, like, that's it. You're never getting the muzzle brake off. And I can't tell you how many times where I've had a muzzle brake that's rock set on, and literally just pulling it with a wrench pretty hard gets the rock set off. It's not the end of the world. It's not like you're welding your muzzle brake on. But I do like to make sure the gun just runs reliably suppressed before I do that, just to avoid the hassle of having to wrench that muzzle brake off and it's not even usable in the suppressed condition. So generally, if I can get away with it, I will run it direct thread for the first range day, see how the gun fares. If it's going to run well suppressed, then I will rock set a brake on, which I did. I actually ended up, for this second range day today, I rock set it on a Silencer Co. single port ASR brake, and that's what I was running for the majority of the day. That did a really good job of cutting out any felt recoil without the suppressor, and with the suppressor, again, obviously no issues with the ASR mount. Nice. Seemed pretty obvious to me. I'm also curious about your question. I use a standard A2 flash hider, and if something can improve that muzzle rise, that would be good to know of. Casey, I hope I kind of answered your question with that response in regards to the Ultradyne Apollo Max muzzle brake and everything like that. Mike, yep, the Ultradyne, yep. Mike, have you ever sent a PSA firearm back? I have not. I've never sent a PSA firearm back. I've always ended up buying them, which gives you somewhat of an idea that, you know, again, I generally end up dropping my own money on these. I'm not getting to keep them for free for all eternity or anything like that. I do have to pay for them, and I generally wind up paying for them. I don't have much issues with that. Not a fan of muzzle brakes at all. Surefire War Comp or BCM Comp mod 1 do very good job of taming recoil and flash. Springco White, Blue, Red Action Springs with Colt H2 is my go-to combo. Sean, that's I would agree 100%. Generally speaking, I'm not a fan of brakes. I prefer flash hiders. And for most of the time when I'm talking about my ARs, I am almost always running them suppressed at this point. I've gotten much more into suppressed shooting within these past few months, really. I've always had my suppressor now for a couple of years, but more recently, I've gone through and basically switched out almost every muzzle device in my collection on my ARs to an ASR muzzle brake from Silencer Co. And that has dramatically changed kind of my thoughts on running these guns suppressed. I love running ARs suppressed because they tend to be super easy to run suppressed. You're not going to run into major issues until you get into the AR-10 category. So be it that I run them most of the time suppressed, it really doesn't matter, to me at least, if there's a flash hider, a brake, whatever, on the end of that gun. And I would much rather not have as much of an annoying time timing a muzzle brake on the end of my AR and just wrenching on a flash hider, rock setting it, and calling it a day, which I obviously generally prefer. So most of the time, I'm not going to see a use of a brake. And on top of that, the concussion just generally annoys me at the range. It's just kind of one of those things that when I'm actually running drills, running around and everything like that, it's just obnoxious. And not only is it obnoxious to people around me, but it's obnoxious to me while I'm shooting, especially if you're getting on the ground, going prone, whatever else. And it's just not really necessary in a 5.56. So I would prefer a flash hider when in doubt. 80s Warrior, thank you so much for the donation, man. I really appreciate that. I just got a binary trigger for my MP5. It's freaking awesome. What's your thoughts? I mean, it's not auto, but it feels like it. 80s Warrior, honestly, man, I think the binaries are pretty freaking cool. I've messed with the binary triggers before. I've messed with machine guns before quite a bit. The last range day, I put a full auto lower on my Project Dream build, which I talked about, I think, in last week's live stream. And I ran that gun full auto, running around, doing drills, whatever else. So I've had a lot of experience with both, and I will say that obviously it is not quite to the same extent a full auto machine gun, because when you are running a full auto machine gun, there is definitely an ease of use when you're running and gunning with it. So that way, you know, I can just flick my safety into that awesome, or flip my selector switch into that awesome third position. And I don't have to worry about a cadence. I can just rip that trigger back, let out a burp, and go to the next one, and we're good to go. But when it comes to binaries, I think you do have a very practical use with them, which is very awesome, and that is controlled bursts, controlled 2-round bursts. So the fact that I can bring the rifle up, and get a bang bang on pull and release is pretty cool, because I get a really nice controlled pair and controlled pair going back and forth. So I think that's really cool. As far as for just bringing it to the range and mag dumping, that's pretty cool as well. You can shoot really fast. And once you learn the cadence, I don't really see a huge downside to the triggers. They are a little bit interesting to install, but with that being said, once you install them right the first time, you're pretty much good to go. But yeah, I've no issues with binary triggers. I think they're pretty freaking awesome. And yeah, I think for the money that you're paying, it is the closest that you're going to get to full auto fire that is out there on the market. I think it is very practical, unlike what a lot of other people in the industry think when everybody's like, oh, they're just unpractical and they're just stupid. I think personally they're practical, and I think you can learn them well. I personally don't own a binary trigger yet, but hopefully I will in the future. Just quite frankly, I haven't really had that $400 to set aside for that trigger. At this point, I would much rather spend $400 not on a trigger, but on more mags, ammo, any sort of accessories that I'm looking to add to my rifles to boost them up a bit. And unfortunately, the binary trigger is just not really on that list anytime soon. But neither here nor there. I really like them. I think they're cool triggers. Binary on an MP5, that is awesome. I would agree. It's pretty freaking cool. Sean, yes, I do run a brake when I have guns that are 100% suppressed. The brake acts as a sacrificial blast baffle. So yeah, that's the only time I use them. Sean, yep, I would agree as well. I still run a flash hider a lot of the time just because, quite frankly, I am lazy when it comes to timing the Silencer Co. muzzle brake. Mind you, let's take a little side note here. And if anybody watches this that I work with, they're probably going to be laughing on the other end because everybody was making fun of me like it was my fault. Thank God I checked if my bore was concentric after I mounted my Silencer Co. ASR brake. I just want to do a little bit of a side point here. Silencer Co.'s shims that they provide with their mounting systems are garbage. They are absolute garbage. They provide these little dinky shims that are oversized for whatever bore that you're going to put on it. So if you put that, like it, this is going to look really bad. But if this was your muzzle, okay, I knew it. I knew people were going to tune in from work already. All right, let me explain this. So imagine, we're going to get a little bit weird here on the channel. Imagine if this was the bore, right? This was the threaded piece of the barrel. And here's my shim, okay? We're going to go ahead and slide the shim on that muzzle. So a normal shim, right? Like it's sitting properly, right? Maybe it's a little bit tight. That's cool. Silencer Co.'s shims like to basically be installed on and then droop, so it's literally like that. And when you install the muzzle brake, even though I'm trying to sit there and like hold the shims level, the moment that you crank on that muzzle brake, especially if you need to use like 2 or 3 shims, they just all mushroom back and fold over on themselves. So I did install the brake. I had a little bit of a mushrooming folding over issue. And sure enough, I looked down the bore, and after I did that, it was definitely not concentric. Now, obviously, this is not good, and I did not get a baffle strike, luckily, because I took it to the gun shop that I work at, and our awesome gunsmith there was able to help me out with a better pair of shims that work just fine. I have not seen any of these issues with shims with Surefire products, with AAC products, with all these other things that provide shims. I've never seen a major issue with it. So I don't know why Silencer Co. Makes these products. I love Silencer Co. I have no issue with their products other than their shims. Like, dude, it's an $80 brake. Just throw some how much do shims cost? Just throw some better shims in there, and we're not going to have an issue. But yeah, so the shims with Silencer Co. products, not great. Silencer Co., if you're listening to this, just upgrade your shims, man. Come on. Tyler, have you been to the Gauntlet machine gun shoot? I have not. I've never been to a machine gun shoot, unfortunately. I've never been to a machine gun shoot. I've shot quite a few machine guns, never been to a machine gun shoot. Sean, binary triggers are awesome. I would not use it on a go-to rig. Sean, I would agree with that. I would say that for like a go-to battle-tested rig that you're going to like, you know, shit is hitting the fan. Of course, I got something in my eye. Great. If it is hitting the fan and you're grabbing that rifle and it's time to go, I don't know if there is quite as long of a track record behind binary triggers as there are with standard mil-spec triggers or full auto trigger packs and everything like that. I don't know if there's as much of a track record. You know, could there still be failures down the line? Yes. Would that be my very first choice out of the safe? Probably not. Probably not. Would it still be awesome to have one? Yes. Yes. I've been searching for a CZ SP01. The only place to have one in stock was Cheaper Than Dirt. It was hard to resist, but I cannot support that company. Yeah, KC, I would not buy from them at all. But with that being said, CZ SP01s are very, very hard to find right now. I do know that. Just keep your eye out. That's about the best thing you can do. More dream builds. Mike, I don't know how much more dream builds my bank account can support because we're having some major issues with that. You should have just shot it. Sam, I'll tell you what, man, I didn't get a baffle strike today, so that's a positive. That was you all canting the thing. Dude, all right, we'll talk about that at work, my friend. Nick, what do you use to verify your suppressor is concentric? Nick, this is a great question. So on ARs, it's a lot easier to verify if they're concentric for the most part. This is not a sure bet way, so don't think this is a sure bet way. But if you mount your suppressor exactly how you're planning on using it at the range, and you take your bolt carrier group out of the back of the upper receiver and basically just look through the bore, you will be able to see, obviously, if that bullet is going to come in contact with anything on the other end. Now, I saw that it was not concentric because when I did that test, I could just see a little bit of the upper left-hand corner of my front cap in that picture, basically. So it looked almost kind of like ovalish. Now, if that does not look like a clear, perfect circle, you know that it's definitely not going to be concentric, and you're probably going to run into some issues. This is far less of an issue on a 5.56 or 223 out of a 30 caliber can. With that 30 cal can, you have a much larger hole diameter, and obviously a 223 or 5.56 is much smaller than that. So even slightly off, you still should be just fine. But with 7.62 by 39, you're really not working with much. So if that's not perfect, do not shoot it because you're probably going to run into some major baffle strike issues. Really, the only sure bet that I know of is getting concentricity. That never sounds right. Rod checkers, which is basically like a machined rod to be machined in a perfectly straight way. And you basically get the rod to the exact same diameter of your suppressor or of the round that the rifle is chambered in. And you put that rod all the way through the suppressor, through the bore. And what that allows you to do is see the exact path that the bullet is going to take. And it shows you basically if it is, hitting one side or the other, and obviously that's going to be the surest way to check. On an AK, the reason why it's generally a little bit harder to check if the bore is concentric or not is because obviously you cannot get a clear sight picture down, or a clear vision down the barrel out the suppressor because of the receiver and the way that is. So there are ways around this. Some people actually use like dental mirrors and different things like that to look through the barrel. Now you can look down the front end, but the downfall with this method is that a lot of the time you can inadvertently turn the gun one way or another and see what you want to see, basically. So in other words, I may have done that and just kind of tilted it one way and not seeing that upper part of the front cap in that, because I just tilted the rifle in a way that is not perfectly lined up. But if I look down the back end of it, it's going to be far better for that. So hopefully that answered your question. Nick, watch Reddit gun deals for SPO1s. That is definitely a good recommendation for sure. Tim, what is up, man? Good to see you. Regarding T&E, do you have access to different manufacturers other than PSA? What have been some of the most exciting guns to get for T&E? Any that you were surprised of the results? So as far as for testing and evaluation on guns, and let me preface this with, I personally am very, very, very picky with anything that I get from a company, or I should say very picky on whatever company that I work with for testing and evaluation or T&E products. There's a couple different ways, and you guys know I am pretty much always transparent with everything here on the Firearm Freedom channel. I don't want to hide anything from you guys. I don't want to make you guys think that I'm shilling out for a certain company or anything like that. So I'm generally pretty upfront with you in regards to that. So I don't work with very many companies because of the fact that I get picky and I don't like the answers that some of these companies say. If I ask them a question on how they respond with negative reviews and how they respond with a gun not performing well, and they get, you know, really hesitant and they don't want you to review their product and you only have to say good things, blah, 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 I'm kind of out. I'm not involved at that point. And there's been many companies that I've just said that, you know, thank you for the offer, but I'm not going to move forward in working with you. It's just as simple as that. So with that being said, Palmetto State is a super cool company, and for the fact that they don't care. They want purely honest reviews out there. And those T&E guns really help out the channel, simply because if it is a time where I'm really hard on cash, I can't go and buy these guns. Like, you know, at the end of the day, guys, I work a retail job in you know, a management role at a gun shop as far as a title goes. And that's, you know, I'm not making millions of dollars or anything like that. And this channel is nowhere near large enough that it can be totally self-sufficient. And unfortunately, with how YouTube goes with monetization of a lot of the videos on my channel, the monetization revenue every month is not even enough to pay for the ammunition that I go through for the videos, let alone new guns. And, you know, working a full-time job, trying to find other forms of money to purchase this stuff out of my own dime is difficult. So the fact that Palmetto State is willing to be like, hey, here's a rifle for 45 days, test it, check it out, let us know what you think. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. You tell us. Whatever else is incredibly helpful. Now, obviously, I always end up buying them after the fact, but it gives me 45 days to save up the money for the gun, almost like a layaway. That is actually the only company that I have gotten a testing and evaluation gun from, as far as a company saying, hey, we'll work with you with your channel. Here's a gun. Let us know what you think. Buy it at the end. Now, with that being said, I have worked with a lot of other companies like Streamlight, like HRT, like Mira Safety, and a couple of other companies that have given me testing and evaluation products that are not firearm related. So if there's a flashlight, if there's a mask, something else, whatever, there are other companies that will say, hey, here you go, you know, take it, it's yours, review it, let us know, is it good, is it bad, you know, we want to know what you think. And I have worked with some companies like that. And again, you know, no issues. You can be assured that any company that I work with, I have asked them that question, and that is their response. Now, there are other companies that I have worked with for a brief period, and then I haven't liked their marketing. I don't like the kind of like shilly marketing kind of type of stuff that they push out. I don't like the other people that work with those companies. I don't like how they act with the products and really try to push it on people. So I back out. Basically, I don't, you know, I don't want to work with them again. I'm like, that's all right. I'm cool. You know, and back out of that. But as far as super cool guns, you know, nothing crazy. A lot of the time, you know, I'm surprised that the guns perform as well as they do at the price point that they come in at. As far as for Palmetto State Armory, I've had guns in the past that I have gotten at a slight discount or something like that, not on T&E. I pay out of pocket for those guns. And, you know, I have been surprised with other companies that I've paid a lot of money for a gun, and it is trash. It does not work at all. You know, major issues, and you know, that always sucks. That's not fun. But yeah, I'm kind of an open book when it comes to the T&E stuff. I know that probably wasn't as surprising of an answer to see as that all of it. You know, I have no complaints. The guns work well. They're reliable. Sometimes I get some weird wear patterns with some Palmetto State guns like the PX9 and the PA10 Gen 2. But with that being said, for the most part, you know, they run incredibly well. As far as for the 5.56 and 7.62 by 39 guns, again, I've had no issues with those. No issues. Mike, thank you. Tim, I appreciate that, buddy. I tried. Nick, what is on your Black Friday gun-related list? Ooh, man, to be honest with you, I don't have any Black Friday gun-related list. At this point, and I feel like this is the same. I'm sure many of the people watching this that work in a gun shop will probably agree. When you start working in gun shops, it's rare that you're ever, like, searching out there for a gun. Like, it's rare that you're ever, like, out and about, like, ready to buy a gun from a different shop. I feel like after a while, it starts coming down to, like, whatever rolls in the door at the gun shop is like, this is my next gun, or this used gun is super cool, that's going to be one that I buy. And it just kind of happens, you know? You guys have heard me mention it before, but it's gun shop fate, man. It just kind of rolls along. That's your next gun. And I think that happens a lot. So, you know, at least for me, I don't really have anything like up on my list that I'm going to be out searching for on Black Friday. And to be honest with you, at this point, I am so hyper-focused and concerned with increasing my ammo supply, increasing my magazine supply, and then also picking out all my rifles in the collection and looking at any one that I may have neglected for a while and doesn't have anything on it. I mean, I have some guns that, again, I've scavenged parts from, you know, and put them on other guns or whatever, and they're kind of sitting in the safe like, oh, what did you do to me? And they're like, they don't even have sights on them. They're like just totally like, you know, like broken in the safe because I've just like stripped and cannibalized every part off of the gun. You know, so I look at those guns and I try to buy parts for them slowly. So a lot of the money more recently has gone to just upgrading the rifles currently in my collection and getting them to the standards that I want them to be at. So nothing on the Black Friday list, unfortunately. KC, Olight has been shilling so hard that it has prevented me from wanting to buy their product. What do you think of Olight? KC, I would agree. I think it's very unfortunate that Olight markets their product in the way that they do. I don't have anything personally against Olight. If you want my unbiased, you know, straight up opinion of Olight, I think that their kind of shilling type marketing pushes people away from their products. I think a lot of their products are actually pretty good, you know, for the most part. Where I'm getting that from, I don't own any Olight products personally, but I have a couple buddies that own Olight products that are not YouTubers that, you know, have told me, hey, the Olight stuff is good to go. I've had no issues with it, and I do trust their opinion that because they use it with no outside influences. But, you know, I would never be interested in buying an Olight product just because, you know, as soon as I see my entire YouTube subscription feed as Olight flash sale and Olight flash sale and we're all with Olight, drink the Kool-Aid, Olight, like Olight, I'm like, okay, I don't trust that. Like, I don't trust the product review. I don't trust the people that are reviewing it. And that pushes me away from your product. So if I had any advice, or if Olight or somebody from Olight ever watched this video, I would say, stop doing that, man. Just Just let your products speak for themselves, because if you don't, inadvertently, it makes it seem like your products are garbage because of the marketing and the video type styles that you're doing. And there's a lot of other companies out there that do this. And what this does is it preys on the people that are new, and it preys on the people that don't know anything, and they watch one video and they're like, oh, Olight's super cool. But anybody in the industry that has been, running with stuff for a while is going to view that as kind of a negative. It's going to view that as like, that's a red flag, so we'll see. Mike, facts, gun shop fate is the best way to go. For sure, Mike. Sam, the glamour of new guns wears off. Used deals are where I get stuck spending my money. Sam, I agree 100%. And dude, especially when you work in a shop, I think, and Sam makes an incredible point here, because I think ultimately what bites you in the ass the most as far as your wallet is when a used gun comes into the gun shop that you work at, and you're just like, oh, and it's right when you don't want, like the moment that the thought in your mind is like, oh man, I got to save some money. I got to save some money right now. Man, my bank account's not looking good. I've been spending too much money. And the moment that those words come out of your mouth, a used gun will come in, and it'll be gone. It'll be gone unless you buy it. It'll sell in 2 seconds. And this time in 2020, you got to buy it. And then all your other buddies that work at the gun shop with you, guess what? They're going to push you to buy it, because that's just what we do at gun shops. So it spends a lot of money. That's what happens. It spends. I said that like it puts its lotion on its skin sort of comment, and I don't know why I said it like that. Sorry, guys. Nick, what's your inventory levels like of firearms at your shop this week? Nick, we just got in a relatively big shipment for us of handguns, but I can tell you our long gun selection is incredibly low compared to what it normally is. Unfortunately, we're seeing distribution having a decrease in long guns available to us more recently. Not sure what the deal is with that, like everything else in 2020, but handguns, we do have an okay selection. Mind you, a good selection of handguns right now in 2020 is probably half of what we would normally have for handguns pre all of this craziness. Harry, I don't go to gun stores anymore because there is nothing to buy. Yeah, Harry, I don't blame you, man. Many people going into the gun shops are going in, looking around, turning around, and walking out because there's just nothing for them. I have never seen so many Olight commercials from YouTubers. Those reviewers lose a lot of credit by doing that. Yeah, KC, I agree with you, man. I think the marketing style that they do is a negative on all sides. It is a negative for the YouTubers doing it because it ruins their credibility. It's a negative to the company because it loses the credibility that the company has. It's just not good. I mean, none of that makes me be like, oh man, I really want to buy this product right now. None of that. All of that makes me be like, red flag. Don't want to do that. All right, we got about 10 minutes, so I'm going to start going through the questions a little bit faster. I have 2 Olights, honestly impressed. I do know there is better, but they do the job. Tim, yep, I've been hearing that quite a bit. Bobby, I dry fire at my TV for hours every night, and I like watching you a lot, but would you mind moving around a little? You're way easy to hit. I don't know, moving quick out of the way. I don't know if I can do that constantly. That would kind of ruin the live stream for many of you, I'm sure. That's one thing I really appreciate from you guys, is that you can actually hang out for an hour every Sunday and just, watch me, watch my phone screen and talk to you. I really appreciate that. Noob question here, Glenn. I have a BCM AR-15 and a PSA PX9 with the same sights. The PX9 repeatedly shoots 4 inches left at 50 yards. Is this normal? I have used different scopes and sights and the groups are very tight, just 4 inches apart. I am mounting the scopes on the upper receivers. So Glenn, my question to you first would be, can you actually sight in to the proper point of impact so that way your sights are actually on your point of impact? Or no matter what you do with your sights, whether it's scope or not a scope, you are still hitting 4 inches to the left. So, all right. So, Glenn, are you switching the sight from one gun to another? Because if you're switching the sight from one gun to another gun after you have already sighted it in, basically what that will do is that zero. Yeah. So, Glenn, the zero will only stay for one specific gun. If you move those sights to another gun, believe it or not, your zero a lot of the times will change. So don't, be worried. This is a totally common thing. But yeah, your zero will change. So the moment that you pick it up and move those sights, even if you move it back and forth, they will change. And that is the same for a red dot. That is the same for a magnified optic. Even if you move that scope or sights to a different spot on the rail system up top, you're going to experience different point of impact shifts. Sean, I agree on not buying guns right now. I've been buying low-power variable optics and red dots, trying to find used ACOGs. Olight is hot garbage. Streamlight, Modlight, Arisaka, or Surefire aren't that much more. Sean, I would agree. Sean, also, Black Rifle Coffee Company. So I will touch on this real quick, just because I have no idea what. Like, I literally was scrolling through Instagram, saw that, and I'm like, oh, that's crazy, and scrolled past 10 minutes before this live stream. But apparently, Black Rifle Coffee Company, in a comment or something like that on their social media pages, said that they do not support Kyle Rittenhouse in the Wisconsin stuff. I think that was a dumb move to say in regards for your company. That's what I'll say right now is, as a company, as they are, obviously any company is going to have the right to say whatever it is they want to say and say whatever opinions they want to say. But I would personally be of the opinion that with everything going on, if that was your thought process on the whole Rittenhouse stuff and everything like that, I would say it would be a much smarter perspective of your company to just not said anything. If that's your thought process, that's fine, but you know your customer base, you know what your company is, you know what industry your company is in, and I think it's a really dumb move to say anything. If your opinion is something different, you don't have to be like balls to the wall, Kyle Rittenhouse, like rock on, here we go. But you can also just say nothing, and I would say it would have probably been a much smarter move to just say nothing. Now, I don't personally buy any Black Rifle Coffee products because I don't drink coffee. So with that being said, I don't really follow the company that much at all, just because I have no need for any of their products. I don't drink coffee or anything like that. But I personally will probably see this as being definitely a bump in the road for this company. Will it be a company-ending thing? Probably not, but will we see it go in the way of like Springfield and the way of other things? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It all depends on where we go from here. With all of these companies, man, it's so stupid to me. I don't know why these companies feel the need to say this stuff out loud, because as they're saying it, you're like, dude, like, all you had to do was just stay quiet, and you can have your opinion. Nobody's going to say anything. All is well in the world. You might lose the one customer that's saying shit to you on social media, but you're not going to lose like thousands of customers because you decided to speak up about something political. At the end of the day, if what you're saying is going to politically go against your customer base, I would just not say anything at all from a financial standpoint. That's just me. But many of these companies choose to go the polar opposite way, and it blows my mind. Sorry, guys. I'm going to fire through all these comments. Can reserve a gun to buy next year, Joe. Neil, I can't help you with that, buddy. I wish I could. Ian, what is up, man? Always enjoyed spending my time to get your opinion and views on stuff. Great channel and honest counts in my book. Ian, I really appreciate that, buddy. You have an awesome channel as well. Tony, hey, Joe, I got a possible job offer at a different gun shop. I may make my exit at the current gun shop I work at after Christmas. The environment at the other gun shop is more friendlier. Tony, I would definitely say do that. You know, it's tough to be, especially at a retail job that you're not happy with and dealing with customers and everything like that. I would switch as soon as possible if you think it's going to be a better option for you. Glenn, no problem, buddy. Glad I could help. Sean, I have 3 O-lights and all 3 failed within 500 rounds. The pistol light broke and sent back after the first range visit. I will be staying with Streamlight, Surefire, or Mod Light on go-to rigs. Sean, you can't really argue with that for sure. I've heard that side of things as well. I've heard side where somebody says O-light is great, they have no problems. I've heard the opposite side where everybody's like, no, all of my O-lights have broke. Glenn, no, you do not have a bent barrel. You're just fine, buddy. Trick shot suggestion: fire a round through your gauge without hitting it. That would be an interesting video. I'm sure I could get YouTube famous from that one. What handgun ammo is most likely to be available at this moment? Any 10mm boxes? Randy, from what I've seen, the most available ammunition right now, this very second, is 357 SIG. That is it. That is it. 10mm is dried up, 45 is dried up, 40 is dried up, 9mm is definitely dried up, 380 is gone. 38 Special, 357 are gone. I would say 357 SIG is the only ammunition that you're going to find even available right now readily. 357 SIG. Glenn, looks like I need a new scope now. Yeah, you know, it's either get a new scope or you're going to have to re-zero your scope every time you move it to the other gun, which can get a little annoying. As you have probably seen. BCM barrels are, in general, are 2 MOA or better. Yep, I would agree. I got about 1.5 inch MOA at 50 yards on my Project Dream build with my BCM government profile barrel. So, yes, I would say it's about the same for me, too. KC, why would that company even come out and say anything like that? So bizarre. Yeah, KC, there's so many companies like this. Like, I swear to God, I would imagine whoever is on their marketing team is getting shit canned real fast, because there are, like, why say it? Why? Like, you're literally, as a company, you're having your foot in a video and you're shooting yourself in the foot. Like that's what you're doing. You are shooting yourself in the foot. And as a company, financially, I don't know why you would do this. I really do not know why. So, you know, I have no clue. Yeah, we will see. Mike, I would agree. They should have just kept quiet. Chad, do you anticipate that inventory of AR-15s or uppers and lowers will decline further next year? Chad, no, absolutely not. I see them going quite the opposite. If it goes, finally, come January here, after all this craziness is over with the election, and if it goes in the route of Biden getting sworn in, you are going to see sales of lowers, magazines, AR-15 parts and components go the route of Sandy Hook and the Obama years, and they're going to be insane. They're going to be insane, my opinion. So moving forward, no, it's going to be pretty rough. Tim, Arasaka is pretty solid for lights. Absolutely. When is the schwig from the jug going to come back? Mike, that's more of an Instagram live thing, and I don't know if I want to, you know, bring it to this glorious space on YouTube yet. Black Rifle Coffee made a hypocritical move. I would agree. Let's see here. Glenn, y'all don't forget to like this video. I often forget during the live streams. Glenn, I appreciate that, man. The likes definitely help me out for sure. Go woke or go broke. Glenn, to be honest, I've heard more about Black Rifle Coffee in the past day than I have in the past year. All press is good press. I doubt they were thinking this when they said something, but true either way. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, could this end up going better for them? I don't know. Maybe. I think ultimately, regardless, they had a good product. I don't drink coffee, but I know a lot of people that drink coffee really like their stuff. And I don't think they have any issue in marketing their product just as it is, as a good product. I think they should have just kept quiet on this. Now, time will tell if moving forward everybody forgets about this in a week or people just go apeshit crazy about it. I have no idea. In the grand scheme of things right now, in the grand scheme of things with everything going on, with how the industry is, I think this is, for me, the last thing on my totem pole of concern is what this coffee company said, because I don't drink coffee. I don't care what whatever. But I'm much more concerned with finding my next box of ammo than what Black Rifle Coffee said. But I don't know. I think maybe more people will flip out about it. It is a political statement, and it is a statement that's not good for our industry, which sucks. So I don't know. We'll see moving forward. Brandon, what is up, man? Look up Defender Coffee. They donate profits to a pro-gun organization of your choice when you order it. GOA is on that list. Brandon, that's pretty cool. KC, do you think Springfield's press was good for them? Have they come back from what they did, or are people still staying away from Springfield? KC, absolutely not good press. People are still staying away from their products because of that. I don't know. It really sucks. I think ultimately what is really unfortunate is that a lot of these very large companies have to choose to play this political game to stay in business where they are in business. So it is not just Springfield. It is many other companies all throughout this company's history that have supported gun control or lobbied for some weird political stuff many times to keep their business in order. EOTech, Surefire, Smith & Wesson, Colt, Ruger, all of these major companies have done very similar things. Now, obviously, at some point during the gun community, generally after like a decade, people are kind of like, oh, it's been a decade, we're good, we're not frustrated with it anymore, and everybody forgets about it. Or a company has made peace with it, they're better with it, they've tried to come away from that. But a lot of these companies kind of play like dirty about it to keep their business in order, and to keep their products selling and military contracts going and blah, 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 blah. So it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that it's tough to not buy from a company that at some point in time has done something similar that Springfield has, because many firearms companies out there have done the same thing. I sold all my Springfield guns. They make great guns. I won't deny that. I just don't like the company after what they've done. Yeah, Brandon, for sure. It's a personal preference thing. Absolutely. Glenn, this will be my last question, guys, because we're a little bit over the hour mark. What do you think about AR-15 22s? I have always thought they were kind of lame, but the ammo prices on the 22 is hard to deny. I don't think they're bad. I mean, I have a 15-22. I don't have any problems with it. 22 ammunition is becoming hard to find right now, and it's just as hard to find as a lot of other calibers. So, make that, part of your decision as well. As far as practicalness, it allows you to get trigger time at the range with something that actually is firing a projectile, which is cool. It has none of the same recoil, Not much of the same ergos, but reloads are kind of the same, and the feel is kind of the same, but the weight is totally different. So as far as like a clear trainer, maybe not. But with that being said, I think it's still cool to have in your collection. Chad, thank you. This is my second week watching live, and I have enjoyed it. I appreciate that, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Neil, I'm going to like super broad stroke this. Springfield supported some anti-gun laws in the state that they reside in order to basically keep their business functioning at that point in time, and played some, kind of dirty political moves to keep their business in working order. That stuff leaked out. People got really pissed. That's all she wrote, basically. Yeah, they blamed it on a new hire. It's just a bunch of strange stuff. If you want to know more about it, I'm not going to be the be-all, end-all for information, so definitely look it up and check it out. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. But guys, I'm going to end this live stream now. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I am really, really, really trying to get these testing and evaluation guns on screen for you guys. So hopefully I'm going to make a little bit of a change. I was going to hold off on the KS47 to get a Streamlight product out on the channel for review, but I think a lot of you guys really want to see what's up with that KS47. So if all goes well in this crazy schedule, I'm hoping to film this KS47 tabletop video within the next day, so you guys will finally see it. I really, really can't thank you guys enough for being patient with me and getting out the standard review videos on the channel. I have literally at this point 8 or 9 review videos in the works. I'm just slowly dribbling them out because going to the range, everything like that, is a little bit tough, and we'll see. I should have, with this many videos backpiled, I should have the ability to start doing once a week videos once again, maybe even twice a week videos for the next couple of weeks, and actually be okay. So we'll see where we're at moving forward. With this far of a backlog, you guys might start seeing twice a week review videos for maybe the next 4 weeks. We'll see how everything goes. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I did okay with this backlog. So we'll see where we go from there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, I'm going to try to go right over to the computer this time and put the links down below to the merchandise store, Discord, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, to subscribe to our account, and everything like that. So definitely check that out. Like this video, comment down below, because all of that really helps defeat the YouTube algorithms, and I cannot tell you guys how much I appreciate that. Guys, thank you so much for watching, as always, for taking an hour out of your Sunday to have a chat here on the Firearm Freedom channel. Again, I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay tuned for more great videos to come soon.